Hey there everyone, it's Joe from Ainslie's Gold Silver Standard Insights, brought to you by goldsilverstandard.com and ainsliebullion.com.au. This is TA Tuesday, where I do some technical analysis of gold, silver, and usually one of the cryptos, but today I'm going to focus also on platinum, another one of the precious metals. Of course, if you like what I do and if you like all the other stuff we do on the channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ainslie Bullion. Let's get straight into it. Normally I do gold and silver first, but I do want to start off with platinum. We're looking at it here on the tradingview.com website. It is currently on the monthly time frame and it's priced in USD, currently $918. Quick bit of macro where we've been, and we'll punch into the weekly and the daily. Then we'll take a look at the specific targets. So, of course, 1998 roughly, this is where we bottomed out, or well, based on this time frame. Of course, we've been lower previously, but from 1998, we're hovering around about, lowest was about 330 USD. Now, between 1998 and 2008, so a 10-year period, we had a beautiful run up. A little bit of a peak there and a consolidation back down. Great buying opportunity, obviously. But then over that next period, look at that, just nice and sweet. So we had technically, roughly, all the way up until, so for 10 years, a roughly 570% increase. That's an amazing return in 10 years for a precious metal. That's pretty darn good. But since then, and what happened in 2008, of course, the GFC, and we had prices come back down quite a long way, all the way back down, nearly 66%, 67% from the all-time high of 2,300 US dollars. A beautiful attempt to get back up again, but that was a failed move to break all-time high. So then what that did is that created the first downtrend line. So you take this point and you take this point and then you just have a straight line all the way down. That was your downtrend line. It attempted to break out in 2013, but no, failed moves and then fast moved to the downside. This was a level of support right here at around about 1370. That was a good level of support for from 2011 till roughly 2014. Failed break out above the 1520 level. Then all the way back down to 830. We've kind of been hovering in that range. We did, of course, what happened here. That was March 2020. You all know what occurred there. And we did have an attempt. Now, I'd actually call that on the monthly, I would call that a failed attempt. But when you pop into the weekly, it looks like a successful attempt to break and hold above this trend line. Eventually we did, coming up to 1330 USD. But if we pop into the weekly, what you'll notice is it was actually, if you take a look right here, it was actually a successful support level on the weekly time frame. There you had a retest and then trying to retest and make new highs, but that was the failed move. Fast move to the downside. We've then had a couple of attempts to break out of this downtrend line. They have both failed, and fast moves back down. Another attempt there, so that's 3 attempts. And we're currently bottomed out. This was at the end of August, bottomed out around about 830 USD. And in the last few weeks, we've actually been making an attempt to break out of this particular support line. I'll pop this in right here. Horizontal line, and you can see that right there. We have broken a little bit above it. You'd call that $920 level right there. Popping onto the daily and talking about where we've come in the last week or so. Yep, all there. A test up from the 830 level. A test of the $920 level. Failed move, fast move down. A second test. Looks like it might possibly hold at the moment, and I'll give you my reasons why. It looks like we will see, at least in the next few days, maybe towards the end of the close of this week's market trading for platinum, we might see, quite possibly, a little bit of a higher movement. And the reason what I'm basing that on is the relative strength index right here. This is a technical indicator. This basically tells you when either an asset, with whether that be a precious metal, a stock, a crypto, is in an area where it is either heavily bought or overbought and then oversold. And we tend to, over time, visit the bottoms and the lows. So we go from oversold to overbought to oversold to overbought. Sometimes we get into extra overbought or extra oversold, but that does tend to visit that. And I think we may have a little bit of room to move. So we're currently hovering at a level of about 60. I'd say in between 60 and 70 is where you want to start considering, taking some profits if you're day trading it, for example. But if you're in the metals and you're looking at selling platinum, round about here might be the time. It could creep up to this 70 mark, which would put it, if I was looking at the actual dollar value, it would put it here at around about, you've got an extra few days. I would say probably a max of about here at $950. So potentially a move up to around about $950 by the close of business market this week. From there, well, that's a good question. It depends where this lands by the close of business this week. So let's have a look at potential targets moving lower, potential targets moving higher. Now, if you want to save some time, they're pretty much similar to what I have already drawn in. I will take another live look and see if there's been any extras added, but I've had these in for quite a while now. We're talking, a year or two, something like that. So we have the next little level of $950. That would be maybe a little level of resistance, but of course we're going to eventually, I think, make another play for this downtrend line. That all just depends on where it hits. If we break above the downtrend line and we finally hold above it on let's talk about maybe the monthly time frame, where could I see, or where are the next big levels of resistance? Clearly right here at the 1090 level. You can call it 1200 even. It's probably a psychological value. Got to break above there. Moving above 1200. This is blue sky thinking. If we happen to just have a total bull run on platinum in the next coming couple of years, then you'll be looking at a resistance point of $1,525 and this resistance point of $1,730 Moving up from there, well, you've got this level here of 1900. I may as well put it in. And of course, above there, you have the all-time high of $2,300. I won't put that one in. If we do some extra blue sky thinking, let's do some Fibonacci from this high, and I will take it from, now I'll have to take it from the March 2020 low. I've kind of got to do that. So breaking above there, usually we find, and there's a lot of lines on here, I know, we usually find that the 1.618 level tends to be, not always, but tends to be a decent level of resistance after you break an all-time high. That's what a lot of traders, a lot of investors focus on, the 1.618 Fibonacci. Again, I think from this high and this low is probably the right one to go with. If you disagree, pop a comment below and tell me why, or tell us why. But you're looking at a rough high in the next, we're talking a 2-3 years roughly of $3,360. Is that close enough to any other psychological value? No. The other level is usually either the 1.618 or the 2.618. Now that's at $5,090, and you could comfortably call that the psychological value of 5,000. That would be a massive move. Definitely not saying it's going there, but those would be the two main ones you'd look at if we break all-time high. The next significant level, 3,300, call it that, and 5,000 right there. Breaking down further, and we'll talk about this on the monthly time frame, where might be some decent buying opportunities. I still think you've got a little level right here of the $790 level. Breaking below there, that's a pretty big line in the sand, that's 790. Below there, yeah, there's a little spike there to 765, but coming down, you'd have another test of this specific level at around $716, breaking down from there, and you can see that actually coincides with this previous resistance point. And moving from there, I did put one in a while ago because of this previous big resistance level, and that was at 650. And I'd say I can very confidently get rid of that one now, I would say. And then, of course, this would be a big level of support at 575. Moving below 575, again, this is on the monthly time frame. You have another very significant level. This is where this particular chart ends, or starts with, I should say. So around about your $450 level. So let me get rid of the Fibonacci, and I'll pop in these horizontal lines. Again, you can pause this video, and those are my targets moving higher and my targets moving lower. So let's go 33.60, and of course the psychological value of the good old 5,000. Right, close enough for jazz. All right, if you want to pause the video right now, you can take a snapshot, take a screenshot of this, and those are my targets higher, my targets moving lower for the macro on platinum, and that's pretty much it. That is platinum. All right, if you're in platinum, let me know. Why are you bullish on platinum? Why we're bullish on platinum, or me in particular. I don't speak for the company financially because it's not financial advice, but I'll put a link above now, and I'll also put a link in the description to the video we recently did called The Platinum Bull Case. So that might interest you to watch for reasons why platinum may be going higher in the future. All right, that is platinum. Let's go to gold. I talked about this last week. Looks like we have a bit of room to move down. As you can see on the relative strength index, we were in oversold territory. This is on the monthly time frame, coming at 250. So that's back in, the big low in 1999, the year 2000. The huge rise up to the then all-time high of 1930 on this particular chart. And then the next high, 2075, looks like, and round about here, as you can see, at the 2075 level, we went into overbought territory, and then we went into ultra overbought territory when we spiked up to 82 on this particular relative strength index, and that was a double top as well. So now it seems as though we are on our way down on the relative strength index on the monthly time frame. We do have to visit oversold and very likely extra oversold at some point. Is that coming now? I would say on balance of probability, more than a 50% chance that we are going to see lower prices in gold from here. And I've got those previous levels right here of 1560 and a big one right here. I've been talking about that a lot over the last months and years when I've done technical analysis for other things, and that's $1,360. So look at a level of support, maybe a relief rally, and possibly down to this big level of 1360. But let's take a look at the weekly. Weekly wise, we're coming into a possible area of oversold, so keep that in mind. You may find a relief rally coming soon. Does that coincide, because this is on the weekly time frame, does that coincide with the level, quite possibly, does that coincide with the level of 1560, 1550? So you could easily see a move down to this level, which would coincide with this moving down to oversold. I would call that, on balance of probability, the most likely scenario in my humble non-financial advice opinion. Yeah, I would say that's more likely. And then from there, on the weekly time frame, you're going to see a relief rally, and then we'll come back up roughly to this close to overbought territory, and then we'll head our way back down. Looking on the monthly, yeah, definitely got room to move all the way down here, which would then move the relative strength index all the way down here. So that's probably on the monthly time frame. When you're in oversold territory on the monthly, you're going to be looking, I think, on balance of probability, more than 50%, likely around this kind of area. Am I saying 100% we are, definitely crashing from here, a bit more of a gold bear market. Nope. But those are the targets moving lower. And hopefully I am wrong and we bounce off there and it's on our merry way. What do you think? Post a comment below. So that is gold. I think maybe we'll just pop onto the daily very quickly for those who decide that they want to get into day trading, or for those who are on the sidelines with a bit of spare powder, whether you are a first-time investor looking to do your research before you get in for the first time, or if you've got some spare powder, some spare cash, and you're looking to get more on the daily and you're looking to do it soon. On the daily, we're currently in a level of oversold, so you could see a little bit more of a rally right here. So maybe that's better for the trader who's looking to sell. So you've got a bit of a rally to go potentially. Where could we move up to if we're breaking up from here? Maybe let's say by the end of the week. Or clearly, very clearly, I'll pop it in here. You have this resistance level at, I'll call it 1695. Let's call it I'm going to call it 1695. Roughly. So over the next few days, if we break above there, then you've got this level right here of the 1715 level, or 1720 level. So keep that in mind if you're looking at selling because you're trading, or day trading, or weekly trading, if that makes sense, swing trading, or if you're looking to sell a bit of gold because you need some extra cash, or even if you're just deciding to get completely out of the market because you think lower prices are coming, then this might be an area right here. Now, as we always say, not financial advice, and if you're set on getting out for a particular reason, maybe you just don't wait and you just do it. I'll give you the opposite story on that, and I'll show you that with silver. So that's the end of gold, and finally we'll get to silver, and let me give you the example from my own personal life. So when I first invested in silver, this was back in 2010. Now, as you know, I am wont to do, and maybe you're one of these people too, I take my time doing a lot of research. And what happened, look, it is what it is, and I still got in. I've still got my core stack of silver, but where is this 2010? This is on the weekly time frame. 2010, we were hovering at, and I'll get rid of this for a second so you can see it a little bit better. We were at 2010, it was around about 14. It's about $16, $17. That's right. It was around about May, June of 2010. I had a spare bit of cash and think, geez, what can I do with it? I looked on YouTube, a lot of recommendations for precious metals, and in particular, silver, the next best investment. Why you should be invested in silver, all that stuff. But it took me 3 months to do it. And in that time, it had jumped from about 16, 17 US dollars to about 24, 25. So I got in at a higher price, unfortunately. But I guess, on looking at it, I needed to do my own research. I needed to feel confident. If I had a time machine, I'd go back and buy it lower. So, of course, I'd buy it back all the way back up here. But look, the point of what I'm trying to make is when you know, or when you think you know, maybe just dip your toe in and buy a bit. Don't use your whole entire stack. What I should have done probably in hindsight is put half of what I wanted to invest in straight away and get a core stack, and then see where the price goes. If it dips, great, I'm buying more. If it goes higher, well, that's great because the trend is looking like it's moving higher, so I can dollar cost average in. So my point on this is, if you're looking at buying gold, if you're looking at buying silver, and you don't think you can time it perfectly, and you've never bought before, that's the key one, consider buying right now. And of course, I'm going to spruik ainslieBullion.com.au for your precious metals, of course, and maybe do it that way. Consider going half now, seeing where the price goes, and then buying your rest later on. Anyway, that is my personal story. Let's take a look at actually where silver has been in the last week. Now, this is an interesting one, because last week we had been talking about the line in the sand of $19.40, I think it was, roughly. And we certainly had it back here. Let me go here onto the weekly. That's silver and CSD. Yes. Oh, no, that's on the weekly. We had already broken through that level. I think I was talking the level of 18. Where are we? On the daily time frame. Thanks for your patience. I had there we go. It's on the daily. That's what I was looking at. Okay, I had to go on the daily. So right here on the, what was it? The 12th of September was the last technical analysis. And right here is we were hovering and we'd broken above the 1940 level. And that's right, I was talking about the next line in the sand of 1880. I said that we needed to hold above 1880 to still be confident that we may continue higher. Well, look at that. 1880 was an absolute, gee, that's pretty much a perfect test. Believe me when I tell you I have not altered this horizontal line right here. This is the same one from last week. So it was a failed move to stay above $19.40, a fast move to the downside, but a quick recovery, a really quick recovery from 1880 back over the 1940 level. And we had a play to break lower. No, that was a failed move, so back up above 1940. Currently looking at testing it again. So if we go gangbusters and we hold that as support, the next levels, you've seen these a million times before so far, $21, $22, $23.80, and breaking through 1880 if we do that in the next few days, particularly if gold has a big drop. Will silver follow? That's a question. I will do a technical analysis on the gold to silver ratio. I think I'll do that next week, so stay tuned for that. Right here, 1820, next line in the sand. And of course, 1750 and breaking down below that. That's probably, I would say, well, I'll mention it, $16.20. That's if gold goes way down to those levels I talked about before, and silver follows as well. So the next one right here is at $16.20. That was a real quick silver one. Probably a long technical analysis. I'll try and keep it shorter next time, but hopefully you found the information in this particular video very informative. And if you would like more of this, you need to subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ainslie Bullion. And I also always want you to head over to goldsilverstandard.com, because you never know, digital gold and silver backed by real physical metal, redeemable for real physical metal, may be something that interests you if you like to stay on the fence between crypto and precious metals. Maybe you have both. So if you're that kind of, you have both, definitely goldsilverstandard.com is a place to check out. And I will be back next week with TA Tuesdays. Thanks for watching. As we say here, balance your wealth in an unbalanced world. Take care, and we'll speak to you soon.